The markets are absolutely on fire right now, and a lot of these Japanese yen pairs are dropping like a rock. The question is it time to buy? And if so, what are some trade setups and ideas for next week and even today on Friday? So with that said, let's jump into it. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. My name is Nick, and I talk all about trading Forex, and I try and keep it real. And lately, I've been doing a lot of coverage on markets, and right now, I've got to talk about this Japanese yen stuff that's going on. Right now, we're seeing a lot of strength come into the Japanese yen amongst this kind of risk-off sentiment that is moving into the markets right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to some charts. We're going to take a look at some yen pairs and talk about trade ideas and maybe some dip buying opportunities on these pairs. Okay, so the first thing we've got to talk about is, of course, dollar yen, USDJPY here. And the thing is, dollar yen has been absolutely getting crushed. Now, if you guys remember, some of you who are inside of the private group, you know, I took a buy trade on the dollar yen here. I caught an excellent buy trade. It worked out very well in the short term. I was able to kind of ride that profit up, but then price collapsed and I actually ended up closing out for break even. So I did take a stab at trying to catch a low here on some yen pairs. But again, that yen strength is just very strong. In fact, what we're going to do now is I'm going to look at JXY. Before I come back to dollar yen, you can see a major spike here in the Japanese currency index, meaning that the yen itself is strengthening against a basket of other currencies. Things like the euro, the dollar, the Aussie, all of those are getting beat up by this yen strength right now. And now what I wanted to do is when we look at the currency index here, it's not something that I necessarily trade, but I use it as a gauge or a filter to do some analysis on. And what I'll notice here and share with you guys here is this idea right here. Check this out. We have a level of supply that has not quite been touched, but is coming awfully close. In fact, we are looking like we really want to come up to this 88.5 zone. And what that has in store is some big sellers here historically. In fact, in a second, I'm going to show you some institutional data that may be very helpful when looking at the yen, which we'll talk about in a second. So I do still have a short bias on this thing, but I think that right now it does have short term the potential to continue lower. Now, when we look at dollar yen specifically, let's look at some ideas for possible levels of demand. The one that sticks out to me here is a move down to 113. If 113 comes into play, I think that that is an opportunity in my view for some buying on the dollar against the yen, basically shorting the yen at that significant level. Now, why is that level so significant? Well, historically, you can see that in November, we found a lot of buying pressure in early November, and in early December, we saw a massive rally off of those levels. So the market here clearly sees 113, 112.9, somewhere in that range as a clear level of demand, historically speaking. Could that change? Sure. But for now, it seems like that would be an area where I could see myself picking up some buying positions. And at that point, I would say that the yen pullback could be very overdone and probably time to short the yen in favor of other currencies. Now, the dollar yen is probably my favorite setup on these pairs. But we will take a look at some other ones. For example, pound yen, right? Pound yen basically came up and formed a big level of resistance here on the daily chart. We're seeing 157.5 basically get shot down pretty hard, and now seeing a big pullback. Now, I'm still bullish on the pound and bearish on the yen. So this pair is one that is on my radar for sure. I did try and take a buy on this. It was a little bit early on the entry, but we'll see if we can get some recovery there on pound yen. Now, the alternative though is that if price continues to drop down lower, there may be some secondary options for entries. In fact, I really like this 61.8. It is quite the retracement, you guys. It is an aggressive sell-off. But if we were to see this level come into play, there is that possibility of getting a really nice discounted buy on this pair in favor of the overall upward momentum that we saw. So big push to the upside, big quick retracement, but maybe that opportunity comes back into play at 152.5, let's call it. Now, lower time frame, the thing is, what I'm saying is that if I'm saying that the yen is overall a short in my opinion, then I'm not saying that it's a short right now, right? I'm not saying basically to buy pound yen right now. I'm saying I'm looking at this thing and saying I would like to pick up some long positions if we can find some good opportunities to do so that give us some great risk reward, etc., etc. Now, I want to show you guys something here that's really important with the COT reports. Take a look with me now. We'll pull over to this. By the way, you guys can get this anytime you want. I'll show you where to go. So you just go a1trading.com, head over to our website. We put out a ton of stuff. You can read up on articles and go through some of our tools here. Again, completely for free. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the COT data. And I want to show you the yen readings right now. I'm going to scroll down to the net positions here, and we're going to look at the non-commercials, which is basically your banks, institutions, hedge funds, basically intelligent, high net valued investors or speculators. And what we'll notice here is that in recent action, despite the yen kind of being favored, look at this. We're seeing a net decrease here in the positioning on the yen. Now, why that is interesting is because although the yen pairs have been dropping like a rock, meaning a lot of strength for the yen, right? Because if we're, for example, looking at GJ, right, we're saying that the pound is going down and the yen is going up, right? That's what's causing the currency pair to go down, right? We would think that the yen is being bought by institutional traders, right? But it's not seemingly the case when we look at institutional positioning here on the non-commercials. Why that matters? Well, if non-commercials are net selling the yen, that means that right now there's that very distinct possibility that the yen weakness is, or yen strength is kind of a shorter term idea, right? With the idea being, okay, well, if institutional traders are essentially picking up short positions or decreasing their long positions on the yen, then they're probably not super bullish on this rally. In fact, if anything, they may be shorting this rally on the yen. And that could be, in my view, a great opportunity to try and join that train to the downside, right? Shorting that yen. Now, some more pairs to look at. These are the more aggressive ones. Now, short term, I do think that Aussie yen, I mentioned this on stream, if risk off sentiment continues to play out, there is that distinct possibility that we could see some short-term momentum here to the downside. But on the higher time frames, I did mention during my stream today that levels that I marked in green here could be really interesting buy trades for the Aussie yen, right? So if we dropped like crazy down to 80.5, I think that you're picking up some possibilities of some really good premium pricing on the Aussie against the yen, right? And even more so down there at 79, right? I think that that could be real strong areas for the Aussie against the yen. We could also take a look, for example, at NZDJPY. Here's another pair that I think has big support should we get down to a level like 76. Now, again, this is based not just on technicals, but also on COT-based data. And in my opinion, the fundamentals of global market outlook still are optimistic. I think that, things are still likely to head towards continued recovery. And if that happens, we would probably not want to bet on the yen, as it is that risk off kind of concerned, risk off, like people buy it when they're fearful, right? If markets are continuing to recover, we probably expect the yen strength to subside fairly quickly. Now, again, I can be wrong about this stuff. I am wrong fairly often. It is part of trading. You're not going to be right all the time. So if I'm wrong about this, whatever I trade, whatever I take a position on, I will keep my stop losses small. So as we pull back to a level like 76.2, something like this, big support there on the daily and 4-hour chart. So there is that opportunity that if you see some momentum off that, you give some confirmation that maybe there's some opportunity to try and trade that level back higher there on NZDJPY. Let's take a look now. I do want to also cover gold. Gold is seeing some strength right now because I think that the risk off sentiment in the market is actually kind of floating gold higher. We're seeing the market really buy up gold in light of, markets dropping, right? We've seen US 30 drop like crazy. We've seen SPX 500 drop like crazy. These are US stock markets, and we're seeing them come down pretty aggressively. And we're seeing gold at the same time be an attractive buy to investors as this 1830 level not only broke out, but actually retested and found immediate support. So for now, I do think that gold has a bullish case and may even be headed up to where we talked about on today's stream, up to 1870. So 1870 is a huge level of resistance, of course, but I do think it's a natural place for price to want to go back to retest if this strength here on gold is to continue. So if you're looking at gold and you have a buy trade, I would say that, this idea 1870 would at least be worth marking on your chart and and looking at for that possible magnet level of a price where price could go next. Now, of course, please remember this is not financial advice. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your positions. I'm here to just share my thoughts and analysis and try and cover the markets on a day-to-day basis. If you enjoy my content, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. It really does help just to continue to grow the channel. And with that, we'll see you next time. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching today's video. There are more videos available on our channel here and here, so go ahead and click into that for some more free trading content. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you back next time.